Hello, critical thinkers. Hope all is well. Tonight is a very interesting, very emotional night. For me, it's been an emotional roller coaster today. Today, we have the first plea deal, which has been taken care of in open court today. Christopher Walrath. So before I go into the videos today, actually, so today won't be an article, live stream. What I'm going to be doing is showing. I'll be giving you my feedback, and then after we go through the court proceeding, I will be going through the press conference done by William Fitzpatrick. Okay, so going through the actual court proceeding, and then after that, actually going through um, the press conference that Bill Fitzpatrick did after the deposition was read in open court. So, just some housekeeping for tonight. So, if everyone could please do me a favor, once you have the opportunity, please like the video, share the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It greatly helps with the algorithm. It greatly helps to put the content out there to get it to a wider group of people. Many of you have brought to my attention that you have not been getting the notifications about the live stream. So one thing that everyone has to do is once you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon and select all for notifications so that you'll be alerted when I do a live stream or when I have a new video that comes up. Okay. So if y'all could please do me a favor, do me a big solid favor. If you could write in the chat where you're watching from, that would be greatly appreciated. Again, if you could write in the chat where you're watching from, it really helps me get a sense of where people are watching the stream from. So we have a couple of comments already, a couple of people. Angel Walters says, "Good evening, all. Thank you for being here, Angel." Chris Milky, a regular, says, "Good evening, everyone." Sunset says, "Hi." Nona says, "Good evening from New York City." Chris Milky's from Western New York. Thank you for being here again, Chris. Really, really appreciate that. Sunset says, "Still no notice that you were live." Sunset, double check your notifications and go into your YouTube settings. You might have to unclick something that will allow you to get notifications from the channels that you're subscribed to. So just double check that. Angel Walters says, "Watching from the ATL." Thank you for being here, Angel. Bruce Cook from North Carolina. Marie Rivas from New York City. Hello, Marie. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. So, in preparation for this live stream tonight, I had to go back and rewatch the Robert Brooks footage. And oh boy, did watching that footage really set me off. And I had a bunch of conversations today with people just going over the news in terms of what the plea deal was, what potentially the maximum that he could face, which was 15 years. And I said I had to go back and watch the footage to see exactly what his role was. So I had the luxury of listening to the press conference and hearing the court disposition and hearing Walrath answer questions in terms of what he did. And the more I heard him answering the questions, yes, to what Bill Fitzpatrick was answering, and then, seeing the footage again, the more upset I was about the plea bargain. Now, one thing I will say is that I am not a criminal defense attorney. I am not an expert of the law per se, but one thing you have to look at is what people with similar charges are pleading out to and what they're being sentenced to. So that's one thing I will say I don't have expertise in. And if there's anyone out there who's a criminal defense attorney, if you practice in upstate New York, I would love to hear from you. I did go back and watch the footage again, and I will say that I checked out JB Nicholas, his visual investigation that he did, which was absolutely superb. So for those of you who have not seen it, I'm going to put a link in the chat now. So, don't go and click on it now because obviously I want you to stay, right? But, feel free to check out this footage. One thing I will say is that it is age restricted and you have to be signed into YouTube to watch the video because it's extremely graphic. This video is not one of the news articles that you will see where you get a snippet of what happened to Robert Brooks. This is going to show you from start to finish from 4 different camera angles. And since there is no audio that's connected with these body cams, JB Nicholas does an excellent a visual review based on what he sees in the body cam. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's absolutely disgusting and appalling. And it's absolutely even more disgusting once you learn that Christopher Walrath had nothing to do with the transportation of Robert Brooks. Christopher Walrath was stationed in the armory, I believe it's called, in Marcy Correctional Facility, and came out. He abandoned his post so that he can partake in the beating of Robert Brooks. That, for me, adds an even higher level of depravity. A higher level of depravity being that he had nothing to do with the transport of Robert Brooks, yet he leaves his post, engages, according to the press conference and according to what was brought out in open court, he participated in all 3 beatings. He choked Robert Brooks, amongst other things, right? So it's even more appalling what he did in his role in it, considering he was facing second-degree murder, uh, depraved, depraved indifference. So I'm going to pull up the court proceeding. But I just want to do a quick reminder to everyone. If you can please do me a favor, if you could like the video, like the stream. If you can share the stream, not scream, share the stream with someone now, that will be greatly appreciated because people need to really see this. And if you haven't already, if you can please subscribe to the channel. Now, I have a couple of notes here about what Christopher Walrath did, right? So Christopher Walrath, according to the Robert Brooks visual investigation that I put a copy to, I linked to, you see him coming into the infirmary. He has some words with Robert Brooks. He then leaves. Anthony Farina comes in. Before that, he kind of taps Christopher Walrath to leave, right? Walrath eventually ends up returning and he holds down Robert Brooks' feet while he's being beaten with Anthony Farina. And then at another point, what you see is Christopher Walrath punching Robert Brooks. Before he does that, he taps Sergeant Mashaw on the arm to tell him to move away so that he can have more reach in punching him. So again, this just adds more depraved indifference to me and just shows the absolute brutality and just the horribleness of the whole situation. Really bad. Really, really bad. And it took me to a very angry, negative place that I hope I don't go to again. But unfortunately, this seems to be part of the culture of New York State docks. And it's just horrible, absolutely horrible. So again, I'm just going to go to a couple of the comments before I go into the video here. We got Bruce Cook from North Carolina. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We got Doc Stahl watching in SoCal, Southern California. Thank you for being here, Doc. We got Marcus. Good evening from Long Island. We got Sunset who says, I checked yes notifications just now. So for everyone just coming on, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell and click on all so you receive all notifications so you know that I am on. Um, we got Elizabeth Miller watching from PA again. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for being here. We got Kim. Good evening, everyone from upstate New York. Love what you stand for and do. Thank you so much, Kim. This channel is 100% independent. I don't take any money from any sponsors or anything like that. This is 100%, self-funded and funded by your generous donations, by your generous cash apps, and any support you're able to give. I greatly appreciate it to help with the expenses of operating a YouTube channel. So I want to thank you for everyone who's given super chats in the past. I really appreciate the support. And for those of you who can't donate, that's fine. I appreciate you just sharing the content, liking it, and interacting with it. It really, really helps me tremendously. Richard Smith, as a former New York State Department of Corrections employee, I find this disgusting. These CEOs should be put under the jail. I'm embarrassed to even say I work for such scum. These CEOs are punks. Yeah, I think these correction officers are beyond punks. It's absolute evil. It's evil incarnate. Chris Milkey says the video is brutal. The video is absolutely brutal. Once you see the video from start to finish and you see the brutality of someone who is handcuffed, unable to protect himself, and we know from civil lawsuits, from previous previous testimonies from incarcerated individuals that this is widespread. This is common. This is the New York State Department of Corruption and Criminal Sadist. This is truly what they are. When someone is generous, I'd like to stop and give thanks. I want to give a tremendous thanks to Marie Rivas, who is now the stream sponsor. Thank you so much, Marie, for the super sticker, $49.99. That is a tremendous help. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. God bless you. And thank you for supporting the channel. It really means a lot. So thank you so much again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't say that enough. And Marie Rivas says, thank you for doing the video on my husband's attack, Juan Rivas. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And also Juan Rivas is someone that I have not forgotten about. I do want to continue to cover this story. So Marie, definitely thank you for the super chat. And I just, like, I wish I did not have this channel. I wish I did not have to report on stories of people that are incarcerated who have lost their lives, and have faced no, and families have not received any justice for what has occurred. So that is absolutely horrible what's happening to people behind bars, and we have to stop this, and we have to stop sugarcoating this bullshit. I've heard a lot of comments. I've heard a lot of people kind of say nice things and say the right things, but we have to start calling people out, calling these institutions out for what they are. Daniel Perino, New York City, thank you for being here. Sunset says, wow, thank you, Marie. Again, thank you so much for the generous contribution. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And Marcus says, if you reside anywhere in New York State, please contact your state legislators and demand hearings. Thank you for that. So what I'm going to do now is pull up the actual court proceeding. Now, some people don't like to hear commentary while watching a court proceeding. So for those of you who don't want to hear the commentary, I put a link in the description of this live stream. If you want to watch it at another time, I will be commenting because I think there are a lot of things said that we can easily, easily have it go over our heads. So we are going to dissect the court proceeding. We're going to be listening and following new things we did not know before. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this video and share this with everyone.
All right.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. So this is the court proceeding. The judge is Judge Bauer, who's presiding over this case. So here we go.
This term of Onondaga County Court is now in session with the Honorable Robert L. Bauer presiding. Please be seated.
By the way, the audio volume, I have it at its highest. You may want to turn up your volume to better hear the audio of this court proceeding. Hopefully you won't have a problem with it. But just FYI, you may want to put the volume up. I know my voice is booming, so hopefully I don't, get too loud in your ear.
Christopher Walrath.
So just to pause it really quick. So this is a gentleman who my understanding participated in all 3 beatings of Robert Brooks. You see him in the infirmary holding down the legs of Robert Brooks. You see him punching Robert Brooks and tapping the arm of a sergeant to move him out the way so that he can have a better range of motion in that swing. So this is a special kind of demon. This is a special kind of demon.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, if you'd like, you're welcome to utilize that podium there, sir.
So getting used to the courtroom, Judge, sorry.
Understood. Now, this is the matter of the people against Christopher Walrath, indictment 25035, calendared for possible disposition here this morning. I do have a number of requests from local news media to cover today's proceedings. Any objection, counsel?
No objection, Judge.
By Mr. Fitzpatrick.
No, Your Honor.
And the court will permit the same. As I said, the matter is calendared today. It's the court's understanding that the parties may now have arrived at an agreed upon disposition. And I'll just begin by noting it's my understanding further, Mr. Fitzpatrick, that this disposition's been arrived at after you have considered the various levels of culpability of the co-defendants involved in this case, and you believe the proposed disposition is appropriate for this specific defendant's level of culpability, and further that this offer has been extended only after consultation with and having received agreement from the victim's family. Do I have that?
Okay, I just wanted to pause it really quick. The judge said a few things that we definitely need to look at and better understand, or I just want to emphasize that. So the judge stated that this plea agreement that has been reached, it's based on the foundation that the culpability that Christopher Walrath had in terms of, the level of attack that he did is in line with the plea agreement. And also there was reference to the Brooks family, that the special prosecutor, Bill Fitzpatrick, has consulted with the family to get their agreement that this was a plea deal that they were in agreement with. So Bill Fitzpatrick is going to say yes. One thing that I found very interesting, and we'll see this later, is that for the press conference, no one from the Brooks family was with him at the press conference. Instead, you had 2 other individuals at the press conference, but no one from the Brooks family was there. I don't know if it's necessarily appropriate for the Brooks family to be there. But anyway, I will play this and then we'll go to that press conference later.
Right.
You have everything correct, Your Honor.
So let me state my complete understanding of the proposal then. That is that the defendant would be pleading guilty to count 2 of the indictment that charges the felony offense of manslaughter in the first degree. And the
Manslaughter in the first degree. That's what he's pleading guilty to.
Agreed upon sentence would then be 15 years in state prison along with 5 years post-release supervision, a waiver of appeal, and mandatory state surcharges, and that would satisfy the remaining count contained in this indictment.
15 years in prison and 5 post-incarceration. I guess that's in reference to parole.
That's people's understanding.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Kafruti, that's your understanding?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Mr. Walrath, is that your understanding of the proposal to resolve these charges, and is that what you want to do here today?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Sir, do you now swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may put your hand up. Mr. Walrath, I'm going to ask you some questions now, and these are to help me decide if I can accept your plea or not. So if at any time you do not hear a question, you do not understand, or you need a moment to stop and speak further with your attorney, then you have to let me know that, okay? You understand by answering my questions and pleading guilty here this morning, you're giving up your right to remain silent and to not incriminate yourself.
Yes.
Have you spoken with your attorney about your case, about pleading guilty and thereby waiving your right to have a trial?
Yes.
Okay. So the judge is going through a series of questions with Christopher Walrath to ensure he's in the right mental state. He's consulted with his attorney. He's not under any kind of duress. He will give up his right to appeal, so on and so forth. So just wanted to point that out very quickly. Also, something very important to know, that this court proceeding was not scheduled in advance. His court date was later on. He was not supposed to be in court today. So initially, when I heard about this plea deal being read in court, I thought maybe I missed something. But this was actually a surprise. This was not something that was scheduled weeks in advance.
Are you satisfied with the services of your attorney?
Yes.
Have you had enough time now to speak with your attorney about your case?
Yes.
The charge you are to plead guilty to pursuant to this agreement is count 2 of this indictment. It charges you with the felony offense of manslaughter in the first degree. That is in violation of penal law sections 125.20 subdivision 1 and also 20.00 as you are charged under an accomplice liability theory. It's alleged here that on or about the 9th day of December 2020.
By the way, if you think 15 years is enough, put yes in the chat. If you think 15 years is not enough, type no in the chat. Yes, if you believe 15 years is enough, type no if you think it is not enough.
24 while you were here in the county of Oneida in the town of Marcy. You, along with your co-defendants, acting in concert with each other, being corrections officers, and intending to cause serious physical injury to another person, you did cause the death of that person. That being that you, along with your co-defendants, participated in multiple beatings of incarcerated individual Robert Brooks, which ultimately resulted in that individual's death. Do you admit that all to be true?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, did you want anything further for the elocution?
A few series of questions with the court's permission.
You may go right ahead.
So now Bill Fitzpatrick is going to ask him a series of questions that he needs to say yes to and agree to. It's similar for, any criminal defendant when they have to admit to wrongdoing, admit to the crime, and admit to various aspects of that crime, because his statements in court of saying yes will incriminate other co-defendants in this case.
Mr. Walrath, you were assigned to work in the Arsenal area of Marcy Correctional Facility on December the 9th, 2024. Is that correct? Yes. Did you leave your post inside of the Arsenal area on December the 9th against departmental policy and procedures upon the arrival of Robert Brooks? Yes.
Okay, so that was one thing I mentioned before. He was not involved in the transport. He was in the Arsenal area. I'm assuming that's the location where the correctional facility has all of their firearms in case of riots, so on and so forth. He left his area, and he wasn't supposed to participate in this beating.
Did you and your fellow corrections officers, Nicholas Kiefer, Nicholas Anzalone, and Robert Kessler, assault Robert Brooks outside of the Arsenal on December the 9th, 2024? Yes. During that assault, did you put Robert Brooks in a chokehold against departmental policy and procedure?
Yes.
On December the 9th, while in the emergency room of the Marcy Correctional Facility, did you and other corrections officers assault Robert Brooks?
Yes.
During that assault, did you strike Robert Brooks about his body?
Yes.
And did you intentionally strike him in his groin?
Yes.
Bill Fitzpatrick asked him, did you intentionally strike him in his groin? I don't know why this is very sadistic of these correction officers, very common in a lot of the accounts of abuse from various incarcerated individuals. Keon Walker, Christopher Keelis, all speak about being attacked in their groin. So there's some sadistic sexual whatever that's occurring with these CEOs in these correctional facilities. So there's patterns, and we have to take note of these patterns.
Were you aware at that time that striking an incarcerated individual in the groin is against departmental policy and procedure?
Yes.
Is it correct that you never reported the use of force that was used on Robert Brooks near the Arsenal area at Marcy Correctional?
Yes.
Is it correct that you never reported the use of force that was used on Robert Brooks in the emergency room at Marcy Correctional?
Yes.
Important to note, no reporting of use of force, which is common. We've learned from various sources, and again, you have to look at patterns. You look at the patterns of, in these incident reports, these misbehavior reports, not all of the officers involved are mentioned in these reports. They are intentionally left out, and no use of force reports are even done in most cases.
You were aware, sir, were you not, that you were required to report any and all uses of force on an incarcerated individual, whether justified or not?
Yes.
And nevertheless, you lied about the use of force used on Robert Brooks on December the 9th, 2024.
Yes.
And again, Fitzpatrick asked him, you lied about the use of force. This is common. They lie about using force. They lie about not using pepper spray. This is just a continued theme.
And sir, at the emergency room, you did nothing to prevent the assault or protect Mr. Brooks. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you realize that these repeated assaults caused serious physical injury to Mr. Brooks and resulted in his death?
Yes.
People are satisfied, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Mr. Walrath, how then do you plead to the second count, manslaughter in the first degree, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How old are you now, Mr. Walrath?
37.
So this demon says he's 37 years old. If he does the entire 15 years, he's getting out at 52. 52 years old. Robert Brooks, his life was mowed down. He doesn't have his life anymore. It's just justice. Again, if you think this is enough, you think 15 years, and most likely he won't do the entire 15 years. And remember, this is what he's potentially getting. If you think this is enough, 15 years, write yes in the chat. If you think it's not enough, write no. And be honest with me. Be honest.
And you can read and write the English language, correct?
Yes.
You're a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
Do you have any physical or mental problems that could prevent you from understanding what you're doing here today?
No.
Did you consume any kind of drug, medicine, or alcohol before coming to court that could affect your understanding?
No.
You're not currently on any form of probation or parole, are you?
No.
By pleading guilty, you are giving up your right to have a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
At a jury trial, you would be presumed innocent and you would be entitled to the following rights: to be represented by your attorney, to confront and cross-examine witnesses presented by the government. You'd have the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself. You would have the right, but would not be required, to call witnesses, or you could testify on your own behalf. You would also have the right to require the government to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of 12 people who would have to be unanimous in finding you guilty. Do you understand? You have each of these rights, and by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up each of these rights.
Yeah.
You understand by pleading guilty, you're also giving up any defense you might have to these charges.
Yes.
Now, a plea of guilty is the same as a verdict of guilty rendered by a jury after a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Other than the plea and sentence agreement I spoke of earlier, has anyone made any other promises to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Did anyone threaten you or force you to plead guilty?
No.
Have you entered this plea today voluntarily and of your own choice?
Yes.
You understand that those that are incarcerated for a felony conviction do lose their right to vote in an election until such time as they are released.
Yes.
And now lastly, sir, part of your negotiated plea here does require that you waive your right to appeal. As a defendant in this court, if convicted, you have a separate and distinct right to appeal a judgment of conviction to a higher court in Rochester known as the Appellate Division. There you can, with your attorney, and a free one if you cannot afford it. You can file a brief and argue before that court that there exists some problem with your conviction here in this court. That is a right you have. It's also a right you can waive or give up, and it is being required that you waive your right to appeal on condition I give you the sentence promised to you. That means your conviction and sentence in this court will likely be final, so there's then little you can do to go back after the fact to try and change that. You will have thereby significantly limited your options for appeal in the future. Do you understand?
Yes.
So one thing important to note, he's waiving his right to appeal because he is engaging in a plea agreement. So he won't have the right to appeal this
Have you
verdict.
spoken with your attorney about waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, I have.
Do you then agree to waive your right to appeal on condition I give you the sentence promised?
Yes.
And are you doing so voluntarily?
Yes.
I'm holding up for you a document entitled Waiver of Right to Appeal. Halfway down the page, I see the signature Christopher Walrath. Did you sign this document here after reading through it and reviewing it with your attorney?
Yes.
Based upon the defendant's statements and his demeanor here in court, I find a knowing voluntary plea with a factual basis. I will direct the court to enter the plea into the minutes of this court. To adjourn sentence until
July 16th.
Your Honor, it was my understanding that the people were not going to object to our request to have the sentencing take place on August 1st.
I know you did meet that a little bit. You don't have any objection to going out that?
No, August 1st is a Friday, Judge. I don't know if counsel prefers August 4th, which is a Monday. And we have no objection to him remaining out, getting his affairs in order. And I've also discussed that with the family.
So just a quick thing. So for those of you who didn't catch this, the sentencing date was July 16th, but it seems as though this was already worked out with Bill Fitzpatrick and the defense attorney that August 1st would be his sentencing date. And then Bill Fitzpatrick said, that's a Friday, let's do it on Monday. So that ends up being August 4th. And Bill Fitzpatrick says that gives him enough time to have his affairs be in order. I mean, you know, going back to the original, when the original arraignment, you know, I felt as though that these individuals got the white glove treatment, that they got treatment that you or I would not get. I doubt if I murdered somebody on camera that I would be given time to get my affairs in order. I understand that that this individual is under bail. He's on bail, but I just don't feel that that would have been my my situation. That I would get, you know, basically a good portion of the summer to be with my family before I get sentenced to 15 years. So today's May 5th. So that's, you know, June 5th, July 5th, August 5th. That's actually 3 months. He's getting 3 months before he has to get sentenced. Maybe this is common. I don't know if there's any criminal defense attorneys out there. For those of you, if you think this is fair, that he gets sentenced in 3 months, that he's not automatically remanded and taken into custody. If you believe that's fair, write yes in the chat. Write yes for me. If you don't think this is fair, do me a favor, write no in the chat to let me know that you don't believe this is fair. So yes or no, you basically tell me what you believe, whether this whole situation with him coming back to court in 3 months is fair to be sentenced.
We appreciate that, and we would prefer the 4th.
All right, then. August 4th at 9:30 a.m. for sentencing. And you're going to remain out on the bond that you posted, Mr. Walrath, but that's going to be with some conditions attached as part of our plea agreement here. Condition 1 is you do have to meet and cooperate truthfully with the probation department as they prepare your pre-sentence investigation. Condition 2, you have to come back here to court on any date you're required to be here. As of right now, you know that's August 4th.
Okay, sorry, just a quick thing. I do want to say, please, if you have the opportunity, please like the stream, like the video. I definitely need to get my likes up. That would be greatly appreciated. Right now, I'm at 44 likes. We have about 80 people on the chat. If we can get it to like 65 likes, that would be greatly appreciated. That helps me with the algorithm. If you're enjoying the content, feel free to make a donation if you're able to. If not, definitely share the content, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Sorry for the commercial, but here we go.
4th at 9:30 in the morning to be sentenced. The third condition is you must commit no offenses. There are to be no new arrests of any kind between now and the time of your sentencing. Do you understand each of those conditions?
Yes.
If you fail to abide by one or more of those conditions, I would not be bound by the sentence agreement. I would not permit you to withdraw your plea, and I would be authorized to sentence you to any term my law permits. You understand?
Yes.
You can speak with probation on your way out regarding setting up your PSI. I'll see you back here August 4th. Anything further from either side?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Thank you, counsel.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of the proceeding. I'm going to bring myself back up, and I'm going to pull up a couple of the comments. Andrea C says, "This is ridiculous. There's nothing fair about any part of this case. These murderers should get the same grace they gave Robert." Oh boy, yeah. So a quick thing. One thing I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and go into the press conference that occurred. Before I do, I want to see if anyone would like the opportunity to come on, voice your opinion. If there are any any nurses out there. Last week I did a nursing live stream that went over the responsibility of the nurses involved. If you want to give me your take on the situation, or if you want to come on and tell me what you think about 15 years and about having an additional 3 months to spend time with his family and get his affairs in order. I don't think this is a common practice to give people that much time, but again, I could be wrong. I'm not a defense attorney. So if you're a defense attorney, I would love to hear what you have to say. So I put a link in the description. If you do want to come on, the only thing that I will say is that you have to be able to show your face, share your camera, no loud music in the background, have a decent camera, have it stationary, and just be respectful. In fact, I would prefer to engage with people who have a difference of opinion. So if you disagree with me on anything and you want to come up, feel free to do so. Basically, you would click the link and you would enable your camera and your microphone, and then you have to click on enter the studio. You click on enter the studio. And again, I want to give a special thanks to Maria Rivas, who's the stream sponsor with the super sticker of $49.99. I want to thank you, Marie. That really means a lot. I really do appreciate the support, and I have to continually give you thanks and say thank you for doing that. It's greatly appreciated. I thank you tremendously. So thank you for doing that. And God bless you. Thank you for that. So I'm going to pull up just a couple of quick comments before I go to the press conference. Now, sometimes the press conference, you learn a lot more from the press conference than you actually do from the court proceeding, because reporters will ask specific questions that are not able to be answered in court. So during this press conference, I thought it was fascinating. It wasn't that long. It was about, I believe, 10 minutes long. So we will play it and I will give my commentary on it. But I'll just go through a couple of quick comments very quickly and see what other people have to say. From A to B says, of course, it's not fair. Most other people would have been locked up as soon as that video was seen. So basically, what from A to B is saying that, excuse me, even prior to the conviction, most people with a murder caught on camera would not be free. So yeah, that's definitely alarming for me, that he has an additional 3 months and that he's been walking around free this whole time. So David Ferguson says, it is not common. It's extremely gracious of the DA and judge at the emotional expense of Robert's family. Now, one thing that Fitzpatrick did say, he said he did consult with the family, not only about the plea deal, but also about the sentencing date, and they were okay with it. Just out of curiosity, do you think the Brooks family is really okay with what happened in court today? If you believe the Brooks family is okay, write okay in the chat. If you believe they're not okay, write not okay in the chat. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the next video here, which is the press conference. Very interesting for me. Let me pull this up. Okay, give me a second to cue this up. Okay, so here's the press conference. Again, this is not a long press conference, so we will go through it. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to be giving you my feedback on this, and you let me know if you disagree with me. If you think I'm correct, if you think I'm not correct, I want to hear from you. Here we go.
That he inflicted on Mr. Brooks, which in my judgment were non-lethal.
By the way, the video doesn't start. It starts after Bill Fitzpatrick was already speaking. So it seems there was a question from a reporter about, I guess, the culpability of the defendant, and Bill Fitzpatrick answers
That
that.
by his plea admitting that he acted in concert with the other defendants. I think it may expedite the other individuals to enter pleas or may not. Regardless of that, I reached out to Robert Jr., discussed it with him and his lawyer, and very important to me, but not dispositive. He thought it was a fair disposition, and that's important to me.
Would you describe Walrath's role in the events of that day?
Walrath was in the arsenal. He had nothing to do with the arrival of Mr. Brooks. He voluntarily.
So again, Bill Fitzpatrick says Walrath was not involved in the transportation of Robert Brooks. He was in the arsenal and came out specifically to participate in this murder.
He got up from his post and joined in on the assaults. Sadly, just emblematic of a system and a problem that is persistent at that institution and perhaps others as well. There were 3 assaults. None of them were provoked by anything that Robert did. And the most serious, obviously, was the final assault in the emergency room.
Did he take part in that last assault, Mr. Walrath?
He did. He punched him. I don't know the exact number, but it was less than 10 times. But they were physical punches to his torso and to his groin area. In my judgment, the serious damage was done to Mr. Brooks in the emergency room, about his head and about his neck and his groin. But I do not believe that Walrath's blows were independently fatal.
So this is what I have a problem with Bill Fitzpatrick and this specific statement. So we know that Christopher Walrath was acting in concert with these other individuals. Bill Fitzpatrick said that he doesn't believe the blows that Christopher Walrath gave to Robert Brooks was independently fatal. The problem that I had with this statement, and we really have to dissect what he's saying, is that typically these correction officers, if you want to call them that, these demons were all acting in concert with one another. So just because you did not deliver the fatal blow, and it might be hard to determine what the fatal blow was because he was beaten 3 times. 3 times he was beaten. Every single blow escalates to this situation where he loses his life. He became brain dead. Okay, so those blows did contribute fatally, in my opinion. I don't see why or how you can say he did not deliver the fatal blows. He delivered blows, period. And later, Robert Brooks died. The series of blows from everyone there contributed to his death. So, for some reason, this statement that he made, I did have a problem with it. And maybe I'm wrong from a legal standpoint. Maybe I'm not. You guys let me know, but I did have a problem with that specific statement. It almost seems as though he's trying to justify giving him less time.
Is he agreeing to cooperate as part of his plea?
He is not, but we have debriefed him extensively so that there is absolutely nothing exculpatory about his story that would in any way assist or exonerate any of the other defendants.
What are your discussions with the other defendants or your understanding of their feelings at this point?
I have not had any recent discussions with any attorneys regarding acceptance or rejection of the people's offer. But those cases are on the court's calendar in the near future, so I should know more shortly.
Okay, so there was a question about the other plea agreements, the status. Bill Fitzpatrick is not going to comment about the discussions about the negotiations of other potential plea agreements. Basically, you will learn about it when it happens in court, basically.
They all get away with only a manslaughter plea.
They could walk out the door not guilty.
I guess in terms of your offers, is anything less than a murder charge in some cases?
I have not discussed the offers, nor will I. Some counsel have indicated what the offers are. That's their choice. I choose not to.
I guess what would you say to the people that see this on video and say there's nothing acceptable less than a murder conviction?
I would say that I respect their opinion, but the opinion that most counts to me is that of Robert Brooks Jr., and he thinks that we're doing him right, and that's what I care about.
During which meeting was it where Walrath put Brooks in a chokehold?
It was there were 2 assaults immediately after he left the bus. A second assault at the arsenal, and that's when the chokehold took place. Then the third and final assault is the only assault that you have seen that's on the captured videotape.
But Mr. Walrath took, I'm so sorry, took part in the second and third, or which?
He took part in all 3.
All three. Thank you.
So again, there was just a follow-up question, a clarifying question, whether he took part in all 3. The answer was yes, he did take part in all 3 assaults that occurred. And one thing that we're finding is that these beatings occur in threes. It happened with Christopher Keyless. It's happening with other incarcerated individuals. They're beaten at the first point of impact with having them doing a pat and frisk. They're beaten on the van, which is a very common theme, and then they're beaten once they get to the segregated housing unit. So for some reason, these things are happening in threes.
What was the
I
idea?
asked him a moment ago if he was sorry, and he didn't comment. Are you seeing any remorse from him?
In terms of remorse, I know a lot of prosecutors talk about that. The defendant showed them. This individual has been a corrections officer for over a decade. He is about to become an incarcerated individual for 50.
Now, there was one thing that Bill Fitzpatrick said, and I promise I'm not going to, after this, stop it a whole lot, but he said He was a corrections officer for 10 years. How many individuals do you think got beaten because of Christopher Walrath? How many beatings did Christopher Walrath participate in his 10-year career? How many people were affected by this demon? How many do you think he beat? How many people do you think he beat? Many. He got caught for this one. This one got caught on camera. But the thing we don't see are the hundreds or thousands of other men who got beaten by correction officers.
15 years. And if he doesn't have remorse, then there's something seriously disconnected in his thinking. Somebody over here had a question.
So is he going to be separated once he is in prison?
That's completely up to the Department of Corrections. There are police officers and corrections officers who are serving state prison sentences, and his safety and his accommodations are up to the Department of Corrections.
So there was a question about the protection, about the safety of Christopher Walrath. My understanding is Christopher Walrath is not going to have the same type of prison experience as you or I would have. He's not. He's going to be protected. He's going to be almost seen as a god amongst these other correction officers that engage in this brutality on a routine basis. So his experience is not going to be the same. Yes, he's going to lose his freedom. He won't be able to see his family, but he is not going to have the same prison experience as you or I would. It's going to be different. He's going to have it a little better, I would assume.
What you said about remorse, I missed your comments. You said if there is no remorse?
Then he has something seriously wrong with him. I mean, I don't know how someone could, be a corrections officer for that long and have be facing a sentence of this length and not have remorse for what he did to that
What was
young
the
man.
idea of him leaving his post improperly? Can you comment on that?
There was absolutely no reason for him to have participated in the transport of Mr. Brooks,
Okay.
other than to get up and join in the assault on him.
What is the arsenal? Is that like a command post? where he was
That's
supposed
an
to
area
be?
where the weapons of the facility are stored in a secure and safe location.
So he had nothing to do with Mr. Brooks' transport,
Nothing.
anything?
Nothing.
He volunteered, the accounts accuse him, among other things, of leaving his post for no particular reason.
Yeah, that's not integral to the manslaughter charge, but that is a fact of what he did.
He was admitting to. Thank you.
Yes.
He was scheduled in court, I think, a week or two from now. He was here last week. They gave him a 2-week extension. How did it come about that he was ready to show up today?
I don't talk about plea negotiations. That was an agreement reached between the special prosecutor's office and his attorney.
Just making sure we can say this is the first guilty plea. The 3 people who reached plea agreements as of February, have they pleaded yet, or is this actually?
They have not pled.
Okay, so this is
They will
literally
be.
the first plea in
This
the
is the
death
first.
of
This is the
Mr.
first.
Brooks.
And so this reporter is asking about the other individuals who we've heard about. We haven't heard their names yet, who have a plea deal agreed, but it has not been discussed in open court. So there were 10 individuals arraigned, indicted, and then you have 3 additional individuals. We don't know who these individuals are. I don't know why the need for secrecy still on this, but eventually we will learn who these people are.
Yes,
Is this a milestone, would you say, in the trajectory of this?
I think it's a very important step.
I believe that it's a step in the right direction. We have been down this road before when police officers, correction officers in New York State have gotten away and have got a slap on the wrist. So I'm very elated to say that the conversations that I had with DA Fitzpatrick from day one was been pleasant.
By the way, for people in the chat, pardon my ignorance, I don't know who this individual is speaking with the glasses. Is he a community activist or an assembly person of some kind? So if you could please write his name in the chat. I don't think I got his name during the press conference, and I wasn't sure who he is.
And it's shows a gratitude to his leadership and getting justice for the family and also for the community. So this is great to hear that someone is actually going to go to jail for a crime that they committed. So I'm enlightened, and I'm looking forward to the other individuals to face jail time, and that's what real justice look like. That's when you can be able to believe in the criminal justice system again when you see something of this magnitude of an individual that will go to jail. On August 4th, it will be a national holiday in New York State because a correction officer that did a crime that put an individual by the name of Robert Brooks on the chokehold will go to jail for what he did.
Is there still no real answer as to why they decided to beat him? None of it was provoked.
You know, I saw the video for the first time when I was a DA, not a special prosecutor. And I have to admit that the first thing I thought of was, well, Robert must have done something. He must have spit on him or disrespected him verbally or something. And the reality is he did nothing. It was welcome to Marcy. You were trouble over at Mid-State, you're not going to be trouble here. And that's a problem that needs to be addressed now.
So the minute he just got off the bus, he was assaulted?
He got off that bus, he had less than 30 minutes to live.
And the first assault was right outside the bus?
First assault was in the walkway, second assault was in the arsenal, final, in my judgment, most brutal of the assaults was in the emergency.
I'd like to add to the conversation. This is, from day one, we've asked for transparency. We've worked with Special Prosecutor in his office, and he's really been encouraging to the community that he was going to give us transparency. But this is a bigger problem where we need to start looking at the character of the agency, not the culture of the agency. A lot of people are talking about the culture. Culture is external, character is internal. It's how you respond in these moments. And what we've learned today, and we continue to learn, is that the character of the agency and those who participated in this murder and other murders are emblematic of maybe higher leadership. And we need to take a look at how we do prisons in New York City.
Okay, I just had to pause it there because I noticed this was the second time this individual, I believe his name is Ruben Lindo, has made that comment that this is not a culture problem, it's a character problem. And for some reason, maybe I have an issue with definitions. I have a problem with that statement because, and again, my understanding of the definitions of culture and character. The New York State Governor Kathy Hochul has said there is a culture of violence in the New York State prisons, which for me is obvious at this point. You really don't have to be a mathematical genius or some kind of idiot savant to understand that there is a culture of violence. So this is the second time I've heard this individual say there isn't a culture of violence, there isn't a culture problem, it's a character problem. I don't understand why he's saying that per se. It doesn't make sense to me. The statement does seem a little suspect for me, and it sounds like he's trying to minimize the problem with docs. I could be wrong. You might disagree with me, and that's okay. That's okay, but I just don't like this statement that he made. I feel like it's attempting to minimize the problem. But that's my 2 cents. I have to, call balls and strikes.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Your name one more time.
Ruben Lindo.
Reverend? or-
Ruben, no.
Okay, thank you.
Ruben Lindo. Lindo.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it there. I'm gonna pull out the video. And so that's the press conference. As you see, as you hear, we learned some additional facts about what happened. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, if you can do me a favor, please like the video, like the stream, share it share the content with others. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for that. One thing I want to do is put a link in the description for anyone who wants to come on and connect with me. Honestly, listen, this stream is really about you. I would much rather hear what you have to say about this than hear myself speaking. Okay. So we actually have somebody backstage. We have a major friend of the channel. I'm going to bring him up. Let's bring him up. Sean, can you unmute yourself?
There we go. How you doing today?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain, man, but
Sean, can you do me one quick favor? The top of your head is cut off. Can you maybe tilt? Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. Perfect. 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 So Sean, big news today. Tell me your thoughts about this plea deal. One, do you think that this is fair? Do you think that this is a good plea deal? Do you believe that the family is truly okay with this? And any thoughts about this individual having 3 months before he gets sentenced? So I will open up the floor to you, Sean.
so fair? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 15 years. He's going to be sitting in Clinton APPU with his feet up, TV. He's going to have all of his flunkies from Clinton. Majority of them are people that promote that kind of misbehavior, and they're going to pat him on the back, and they're going to give him a warm welcome with open arms. That plea deal is a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
But you mentioned Clinton Correctional. Why Clinton Correctional? Why would he go there?
They have something called APPU. It's basically a high class protective custody. So if you have a sentence handed down to you from a judge and it's high profile, where the whole entire New York or the whole world viewed it and everybody kind of has an opinion on it, or it's a political view on it, they're going to want to put you in protective custody where you can be safe and not in the population where you could possibly be harmed because somebody has different views from you or has a negative light attached to you where you could possibly be facing harm. So in order to protect not only the safety and security of the facility, they also have to protect you. So his case is in full swing right now. News is covering it. I literally was just watching Spectrum News just now. They're covering it right now as well. So the publicity on this is big. It's major. Everybody wants to see action. And I think the 15 years is just to pacify the public. But he pled guilty, so he's accepting the accountability. That's a small victory for formerly incarcerated people, Robert Brooks's family, his son, and all the other people that have been brutalized by this animal, because he is an animal. And to this day, I didn't know that he took place and he took action in 3 different instances of beatings. I thought it was just that one time in the infirmary. This guy went out of his way.
Yeah.
He made it.
Sean. No. And did you also hear that like you mentioned, he went out of his way, he left his post to get involved in the beatings? Can you believe that? He wasn't transporting Robert Brooks.
That's normal. That's normal in a facility for officers to respond to an alarm in the facility and flee their post just to get in on the action. That's what they call it, getting in on the action. So they would leave the little sheds that they have set up along the walkways. They would leave the law library. They would leave the mess hall and run full speed. And he was one of the people that used to do that too. He walked around the facility like he ran the place. Him and Gentile, right? Him and Gentile. Gentile has numerous family members in the facility as well. But I guarantee you, he's going to be one of the people that plead guilty as well.
Yeah. Are you talking about Nicholas Gentile? He
Yeah.
was charged with tampering with evidence. Him, he looks
Yeah.
so tiny.
He was known for tampering with evidence. He has family members throughout that facility and throughout the criminal justice system as well. And they all kind of run in cohorts with each other, in cahoots with each other.
Wow.
So it's definitely a family of cover-ups going on with the Gentiles. So that's something that really should be investigated. And Walrath taking this plea deal was a slap on the wrist for him. He's not going to go through all of the things that the average incarcerated individual is going to have to go through. As a former correction officer that murdered an incarcerated individual, that's normal. That's like a badge of honor for them. And since he's going to APPU in Clinton, I guarantee you he's going to Onondaga County, Clinton, APPU, where they're going to give him the welcome wagon. The same officers that have the black baby with the noose around his neck hanging from the bars, they're going to welcome him in as one of their own. And they're going to tell everybody, if anybody touches this guy, we're going to kill you. Straight like that. Straight like that. From the rip. When he walks through that door, he's going to have everything that he needs.
Wow.
That's how strong the back to blue is. So this is something that I want to show is back to green. So everybody can really support this and bring all this to light and bring about accountability and full transparency. Everybody needs to know the type of horrors that go on in there. Everybody needs to understand that this is real. This is not a game. This is not a joke. It even stems to the criminal justice system. Look at how the district attorney is talking. Not once did he say this is a public outrage. This is horrible. This was a wicked act. It was, oh, we're going to give him 4 months to get his life together. Tell me one person that has a murder in the streets on camera that they ever said this was a good church-going man and he deserves 5 months to speak to his family and go on vacation for killing somebody.
Yeah.
They made it seem like it was a guy that just stole a cupcake. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
So one thing Fitzpatrick kept saying was that he consulted with the family and the family was okay with the plea deal, with the 3 months before being sentenced. Do you believe that the family's okay with this?
I don't think anybody's okay with somebody murdering their father and not getting life in jail. But what I do think they're okay with is the justice that's being done. Because let's be real, in all reality, everybody expected a majority of them to walk.
Yeah.
Some people believe that we're lucky to even have gotten that.
Yeah.
Especially with Fitzpatrick on the case. I'm really enraged right now by this because I know he's not going to do 15 flat. He'll be lucky enough to even do 13 years, or he might even get compassionate release with the type of state that we have. Who knows? Wow. So, but I am happy with the small victory that he finally stepped forward and said, yes, I agree that what I did was wrong. And I want the rest of the guys to face justice too. But Fitzpatrick said that he didn't cooperate. He didn't give up any information. He just basically took his own accountability for what he did in his plea deal. There wasn't the average plea deal where they force you to give up your co-defendants and tell the whole entire story. They didn't do that. They didn't enforce the free will on him.
Yeah, no, but there was a statement in court where he said yes to that he participated in the beating, and then he mentioned Kiefer, he mentioned Anzalone. So there is that piece, right? That he did say yes to assaulting Mr. Brooks, and there was a mention of 3 to 4 other correction officers. But you're right. He doesn't have to testify against his co-defendants. He just pleads guilty for himself.
Yeah, they didn't go as hard as if it was me or if it was you. They didn't tell him go back into history and dig up all the archives of all the other people that they beat up and covered up, right?
Yeah.
But he did admit to covering up evidence with this case. By the grace of God, they had this on camera. Imagine if this wasn't on camera.
Yeah.
10 years of service. 10 years. You can only imagine if he ran from his post to make it to the infirmary to beat this guy. He ran to get there. He said, yes, I admit to punching him in his testicles on purpose. I'm purposely trying to hurt this man. This is my every intention to brutalize this man. And you telling me depraved indifference to murder is all you can come up with? A manslaughter? This is murder. This is your intention. This is a conspiracy to murder. Yeah. This is your full intent to murder somebody. I want to do everything in my power to hurt him.
Yeah, no, I truly believe it's that second-degree murder, depraved indifference. Depraved. So, oh man. So, Sean, is there anything else you wanna say?
It just doesn't surprise me a lot of the stuff that goes on within this criminal justice system. And it's really time for everybody to show up to these court dates and show up to these hearings and really vote for your mayors and your governors and your elected officials. Really, really, really bring about a voice and be heard. Share this video, like the video, comment, really tell everybody else what's going on, because at the end of the day, you see that it's a two-tier justice system. And at the end of the day, this could be you one day.
Yeah.
You could possibly be sitting in college or sitting at your office and possibly be mistaken for somebody for a crime that you didn't commit and have to go through this same justice system where you might not get that leniency, or your child might not get that leniency. So you have to be a voice. And as you can see, accountability is coming. So if you're an officer or you're a nurse and you know people that took part in these beatings, and there are logbooks, there's definitely logbooks that show all of the stuff that's happening, and it's being investigated right now. So this is your time to come forward and give your testimony so you can shed a light on all the atrocities that was going on, or you could be a part of the problem and sit right in front of that judge just like he is, and you'll be taking time soon, and you might not get that courtesy that he got. So time is coming, and I'm so happy that I'm finally free and able to see it with my own eyes. So that small victory is something that really, really made me happy today, even though I'm still highly upset. But justice is being served. Justice is being served. And I'm going to continue to be a voice. He's going to continue to be a voice. And I really commend everybody for supporting what's going on and bringing about that full accountability and transparency and that help to Robert Brooks's family and all the other families that came on this show and continue to protest and continue to back justice. Because people that are incarcerated right now, they don't have family support. They don't have the funds. They don't have the lawyers. They don't have district attorneys saying, yeah, this is a good Christian. This is a good Muslim. This is a good whatever. They don't have that. They just have a person that's trying to beat them to death and people running from their posts to kill them too. And then they cover it up. And then they get one little ibuprofen and say, be a good inmate. That's not, come on. That's not right. He knew it wasn't right. He admitted it in court. So continue to support, continue to donate, continue to push for that peace and that positivity, and vote, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Sean, always a pleasure to connect with you, chat with you. I learned so much from you, from your experience, and I thank you for coming on and just giving your input. And as I mentioned to everybody, I'm going to be following this case until the very end, and I'm going to continue to update everybody. And Sean, hopefully when we have most of these defendants and they have their plea deals, you'll come back and we can chat some more about this, okay?
All right. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
All right, Sean, take care. God bless you. I'll see you.
God bless you too, bro.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was Sean. That was Sean. That was Sean. So just a little quick commercial, by the way. Marie, I saw you were backstage and you left. I don't know if you want to come on. You're more than welcome to come on. I'd love to have a conversation with you and hear what you have to say about this. So just a little quick commercial again. If everyone could please like the stream, share the stream when you have the opportunity, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. For those of you who joined, if you joined us late, we went over the Christopher Walrath court proceeding today, and we also went over the press conference that Bill Fitzpatrick did after the court proceeding. So I am going to do a couple of quick comments before I go, and I'll pull up some comments. And Marie, if you're still interested in coming on, feel free to click on the link and I will have you come on. If not, that's okay. We have Bruce Cook says, I got a feeling his prison time will be nothing like a general population inmate, easier time. And that's one thing that Sean brought out, is that his time is not going to be like the time you or I will experience. He's going to come in, he's going to be treated like a folk hero because of what he did, because he murdered somebody who was incarcerated. So his experience in prison is not going to be like what you or I would experience. Well, Laura Fox, Laura, hi everyone. I think they should all have to stand and say what and why they did this. And when these plea deals come for these other defendants, they will have to say what they did in terms of why they did it. I don't think they're obligated to do that. I just want to see justice, and I want to see these individuals go to jail for a very long time. Very long time. Okay. Nona E828 says, I think it's disgusting that these guys will still be able to collect their pensions. Yes, if they resigned from their post, they will be able to collect their pensions. Exactly what percentage of that, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a common tactic for a correction officer to resign before they're terminated, so that they'll be able to collect their pension. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is the end of the stream. I just want to say thank you for everyone who's been on. Thank you for everyone who has supported the channel. I greatly appreciate that. I want to give a special shout out to Marie Rivas, who is the stream sponsor with her $49.99 super sticker. Again, thank you, Marie, for supporting the channel. And again, if we have maybe like another 30 seconds left, if you do want to come on, you are more than welcome to come on. The link is in the description. If not, that's okay. I would love to have a conversation with you at another time. So again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. As I say in every one of my videos or streams, my purpose is to go deeper than what mainstream media is telling and showing you, going behind the headlines, going deeper and really listening to what people are saying and truly interpreting what they're saying. So today we did have some big news. Christopher Walrath did plead guilty to 15 years. For some people, it's not the end result that they wanted to see. For others, they do see this as justice. I will say that this is more than what I expected that these COs would get, or what he would get. And so I will continue to follow this case and communicate with everyone and give everyone updates. So again, thank you for being here. Take care. God bless, and see you next time.